Welcome back in, everybody, once again to the Boston Celtics Newsfeed, powered by CLNS Media. I'm Mike Walsh, manager of the Celtics Newsfeed, and this is day 18 of our 2017-18 NBA preview. We're going day by day, releasing team previews leading up to opening night, October 17th in Cleveland. Before we get started today, I wanted to mention that the CLNS Media team has been all over training camp, and our YouTube page at youtube.com/CLNS Media is packed with content from preseason games, practices, and training camp. Obviously, we got a ton of stuff from last night's preseason home game against the 76ers at TD Garden, so head over to youtube.com/CLNS Media and subscribe to not miss a thing. Now, each of these preview podcasts will be accompanied by an outline blog post to our site, clnsradio.com. Today I'm going to be speaking with CLNS Media contributor Nick Cherico about his preview for the Phoenix Suns. The Suns weren't much to look at last year, but somehow played two standout games against the Celtics. Then they wound up with the draft pick that Danny Ainge originally thought pretty highly of, before he shunned the Celtics by bailing on a workout. So without further ado, let's get into day 18 of the Boston Celtics Newsfeed's 2017-18 NBA season preview with Nick Cherico and the Phoenix Suns. Alright guys, we're dipping back into the Western Conference today as part of the Newsfeed's 2017-18 NBA preview. We're going to talk the Boston Celtics versus the Phoenix Suns today. Nick Cherico, CLNS Media contributor on the line. Nick, how are we doing this morning?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing well. The Suns are an oddly interesting team for what amounts to, a bottom of the Western Conference team that the Celtics really shouldn't have too much concern with or shouldn't think about too much. We'll look back at last year's two games. Those were both actually thrilling games between the Celtics and Suns. And then the Suns offseason kind of intertwined with the Celtics a little bit in terms of both the NBA draft and then the Suns trying to swoop in and maybe steal some of the Celtics targeted offseason acquisitions. But let's start with last year. The Suns finished 24-58, as you write in your post on clnsradio.com, which everyone can head over there and read. 15th in the West, so not a whole lot going on out there for them. But those two games against the Celtics, talk to me about what you saw in those, because they were both, they both stand out as some of the big regular season games from last year.
Yeah, the game in Phoenix was pretty back and forth for the most part, and of course we had, I think it was Eric Bledsoe hitting a game-tying layup with 3 seconds left, and then next thing you know, Isaiah Thomas is getting the ball stolen from him on the inbound, and Tyler Ulis hits a game-winning three. That one definitely stung for Celtics fans because that's a game that they should have had in the bag and easily. Mm-hmm. And then the other game, Devin Booker, he absolutely took advantage of Avery Bradley being out, I think, that night. And then he dropped 70. Celtics still won somehow, but he went off and showed really what he has potential of being in the NBA.
Yeah, that first one was definitely, I think, like a low point of the season almost, where that got a lot of fans really down on the team, and what really is this team if they're gonna lose games like that? Isaiah didn't look all that interested in that last play, but obviously things improved there. They wind up coming out and taking the number 1 seed, and the Booker thing just sort of put Booker on the map, I think, for a national audience, and we'll talk about what he could become in a minute. Their off-season grades, you give them a C+, and really, in terms of, I guess, free agency acquisitions, there isn't a whole lot coming out of there. So I figure we'll talk mostly about the draft and that number 4 selection they had, one spot beneath the Celtics after the Celtics traded with Philadelphia out of the number 1 spot. And the Celtics had, so the guy that wound up taking, Josh Jackson, the Celtics had him in at least once, or they tried to have him in. I can't quite remember what went down with that, but he was a guy that sounded like he didn't want to come to Boston. Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, they wanted to have him in. Danny Ainge was pretty high on him, but his agent, they tried to set up some sort of workout, but Jackson and his agent declined it. Because I don't know, I think there was something about him not wanting to be behind Jalen or start on the bench or something like that.
Yeah, and so he winds up in Phoenix, where I guess he was thinking he'd have a lot more run. And given how the rest of the offseason played out with the Celtics acquiring Gordon Hayward and Kyrie, the shots are going to be slim to go around. So I can somewhat understand it there, but I think it's a little bit of a bad sign for him also to reject going to obviously the best team I think in the lottery last year, and a team that was going to immediately contend for a title.
Yeah, it's never good to turn down a professional team like that.
But Jackson, so now he's in Phoenix. He's played 3 preseason games. I was just looking at it. He's actually played pretty well. The turnovers are actually jarring, but beyond that, he shot pretty well. I think just a hair under 50% through 3 games. He's averaging over, in double-digit points. He's getting a fair amount of rebounds. What kind of player
pretty well
do
from
you
3 too?
Yeah, also that as well. I think, well over 50% on that. What kind of player do you see him becoming for Phoenix sort of immediately? Because I think he's going to get some run, right?
Yeah, he's definitely going to get the minutes right away because Allen Williams he's like one of their power forward center guys. Mm-hmm. I think Jackson can play that position. Allen Williams he tore his meniscus, I think it was during training camp, so he's going to be out. He's going to miss some time. That's definitely going to help out Josh Jackson in terms of minutes. I think he's going to get some good run in the beginning, definitely. In terms of production, I think he's doing good right now, but it will take him a while to develop into what he really can be, and that's like a slashing. He's 6'7", like a slashing forward who can. Mm-hmm. He'll be able to develop a shot eventually, but it's got to come with time.
So, what do you think was, I guess, the main? I don't know. I don't want to say deciding factor because Ainge might have been deciding between one of the 2 point guards as well, but in terms of taking Jayson Tatum over him at that number 3 spot. Obviously, not being able to work him out was probably a main deciding factor as well. But just in terms of the players you see, him and Tatum, what is your take on that and how these guys will be intertwined for the rest of their careers?
Well, I think they'll definitely be intertwined because there's always that thought of what if Josh Jackson did end up working here, but working out here. I just think he might have gone with Tatum because Tatum can create his shot a bit more, I think, than Jackson was able to at Kansas. He can get down in the post and get him that fadeaway. Or Jackson's more Jackson can't really create his own jump shot, I guess. Okay. It's just Tatum's more of a creator for himself.
Yeah, and that probably goes along with the turnovers we're seeing from Jackson and just in terms of his ability to be a ball handler at the NBA level, where guys are coming after it a lot more than they were in college. So hopefully that one winds up working out in Danny Ainge's favor, but definitely something that we'll be keeping an eye on for the year to come and really the years to come beyond that. This Newsfeed preview series is being sponsored by Greats, makers of the all-time greats. Classic, stylish, and comfortable sneakers sold at a great price. Greats is Brooklyn's first sneaker company. They have a wide variety of men's and women's shoes suitable for any occasion, a bunch of different colors and materials to choose from. You can head over to Greats.com, check out their best sellers. That's going to include the all-leather Royale lace-ups, which I personally have a pair of. They are white on white. They are great. I wore them with a suit to a formal occasion. I've worn them with jeans and khakis to work. I wear them with shorts on the golf course. They are great, and they're super comfortable. So again, head over to Greats.com. We've got a special deal for our audience. You can save 15% on your first order with Greats through our offer code Celtics Roundtable. Go to Greats.com. That's GREATS.com. And be sure to enter the promo code Celtics Roundtable to save 15% at checkout. And that's not all. Greats is also going to give you a no-risk return and exchange policy to guarantee that you get the right fit and style you love. That's how much they believe in these shoes, and I believe in them too. That's Greats.com. Use the code Celtics Roundtable and save 15% at checkout. As the Suns enter training camp, we obviously want to keep our eyes on Devin Booker. You have here his scoring total leapt from 13.8 to 22.1 in your post on CLNSradio.com. What do you see him becoming, and is he sort of for real in terms of just becoming an true NBA star, superstar potential?
See, I think he's for real. He's got the size of like a Klay Thompson. I think he's up there like 6'5", 6'6". He's pretty big. I think he could turn into that potential like type of scorer. He does need to improve his defense though, because he was at the bottom of the league in terms of guard defense last year. He's not that great of a defender, and his 3-point percentage, he needs to get that up a bit too if he wants to be in the conversation with like a Klay Thompson or the other top shooting guards in the NBA.
Okay, so yeah, actually we'll play twice. I do want to let people know, Saturday, December 2nd, you can see the Suns in Boston at TD Garden, and then on Monday, March 26th, the Celtics will head back out to Phoenix. Again, we're not expecting a whole lot out of these matchups, but given that they were pretty entertaining last year, you never know what could happen here. How do you see the individual 2 matchups here? Obviously, we don't consider the Suns a threat to get out of the Western Conference and possibly meet in the NBA Finals, so those 2 matchups, What do you see happening in them? Obviously, Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, a lot of faces gone from the Celtics. So what will the new guys do to Phoenix?
Well, the way it looks like right now in preseason, we are running up and down the court like animals. So I think we could. This is a team that finished in the top 6 in rebounding, actually. So I think we just have to run around them and be able to grab rebounds like we are right now, because I think we're 8th in preseason. I mean, there isn't a whole lot with this team, really, because it's all Devin Booker. It all comes down to Booker.
Mm-hmm. And you feel like, my take on a lot of these teams that have these, these high scoring guards is the loss of Avery Bradley could be, a glaring one, maybe more than people consider. Your take on Marcus Smart this preseason, is he, that whole slim down storyline of him now, is he a guy who can handle a Devin Booker now, you think?
I think so, yeah. He's shown that he's physical. He's a physical guy. He could get in Booker's grill, but if he can do it for the whole game, that's the real question. Because he's shown us flashes of being able to do it, but I want to see it like consistently for a whole game, being able to take him, throw him on that one guy, and have him just shut him down for the night.
Yeah, and you're also going to have to look at his offense. He has to be able to produce on the offensive side as well if he's going to get warrant that amount of minutes. Like obviously Avery learned to produce on the offensive end. Last thing to really talk about with this team, I think, is the guys that they might have to move, and maybe the Celtics would potentially be in on any of them. You have here, next move they make, guys like Eric Bledsoe, Tyson Chandler, Jared Dudley, Brandon Knight. I think, Knight and Bledsoe are still, in their mid to late 20s. I think Knight in particular is pretty young. Bledsoe's probably around 26, 27. But Chandler and Dudley are guys that don't really fit on this team's timetable, as you put it. Are they guys that you think that the Celtics could look into? I know, obviously, I haven't gotten to the bottom of it, but Aaron Baines got hurt a little bit last night. So, would Tyson Chandler be an idea for the Celtics, you think?
He could be. It depends on what he's making. I think he's making like a decent amount of money. I don't know how that contract situation would work out, but I could see Chandler as a guy that could work out here in a trade. It's just a matter of how you make the money work out.
Yeah, it looks like he's got over $13 million for the next 2 years through 2019. So
that's
be a tough one, but but definitely something to keep an eye on there. Dudley also, a Boston College guy, so you never know there, and definitely a heady veteran wing. So any sort of injuries that the Celtics could be looking to poach a little bit from some of these other teams. Finally, trending wise, how do you see this team looking over the next handful of years? Are they going in the right direction with draft picks like a Josh Jackson? What do you see this team becoming soon?
See, I think they're one of the more talented teams at the bottom, so I see them trending upwards, but it's gonna take a while. I bet they do finish at the bottom again this year, just because they brought 12 of the guys back from last year's roster, so I don't think a whole lot's gonna change in terms of wins and losses. So they're probably gonna finish at the bottom again, which means another lottery pick. And this draft class coming up is filled with big guys like Marvin Bagley, DeAndre Ayton. So if they could finish at the bottom again and grab one of those like stud big men, I think they could get a really good, nice young core, and that'll have them trending upwards real soon.
Definitely a team that could pick up a major lottery piece this coming summer. You have them final standings from Nick Cherico. 27-55, 15th in the Western Conference. I think that's about right, especially that West is going to be brutal. So any young team hoping to make a splash this year might have to wait a year. Any last take on the Suns and the Celtics entering this season, Nick?
No, I think the Celtics should win those games, hopefully, unless bearing another step-back three-pointer at the buzzer from Tyler Ulis.
And there you have it. He's Nick Cherico, CLNS Media contributor. You can hear him on the news feed at Nick Cherico2 on Twitter. That's at Nick CHERICO2, the number 2 on Twitter. Thanks, Nick, for joining us. We'll talk to you soon on this preview podcast, I'm sure, again.
No problem. Can't wait to get back on.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Day 18 of the Boston Celtics Newsfeed's 2017-18 NBA preview. Again, you can get more analysis on the CLNSradio.com site and view any of our previous episodes on the playlist at youtube.com/CLNS Media. Follow CLNS on Twitter at CLNS Media and myself at CLNS_Walsh. Be sure to subscribe to the Celtics Newsfeed, rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and of course the CLNS Media Network's mobile podcast app. Head over to greats.com, pick up a great pair of shoes for 15% off using the code Celtics Roundtable. Until next time, this is Newsfeed Manager Mike Walsh signing off.